to CNN 10, where we explain global news in 10 minutes. My name is Carl Azuz. I'm happy to be your anchor. Officials on two sides of the Pacific Ocean have put the brakes on a trade dispute between the United States and China. These two countries have the two largest economies on the planet. They trade an incredible amount of goods with each other. But last year, the U.S. sold $130 billion worth of goods to China and bought $506 billion in goods from China. And that deficit, that difference, is something that's angered the Trump administration, which wants trade to be more level between the countries. So the U.S. put tariffs or taxes on certain imports from China, and China retaliated with tariffs of its own on the U.S. Trade analysts were worried that this could lead to a trade war when both sides try to hurt each other's economy through increased tariffs, which can lead to increased prices. But now, the United States and China are saying they're trying to work things out. China plans to significantly increase what it buys in U.S. goods and services. That was a main demand of the Trump administration. And both sides say they're not going to put any new tariffs on one another while they hold talks to form a new trade agreement. There are still some major issues that haven't been resolved yet. For example, exactly how much more China plans to buy from the U.S. There's been some conflicting information on that. And critics say their promise to work together more closely isn't specific enough to guarantee things will get better. But at least tensions have eased while the talks are going on. 10-second trivia. What country has more historically active volcanoes than any other? United States, Indonesia, Japan, or Philippines? According to the U.S. Geological Survey, there are more written accounts for eruptions in Indonesia than any other country. But a lot of international attention right now is centered on the Kilauea volcano, located on Hawaii's Big Island. It's been erupting since May 3rd, and residents for miles around the mountain are facing several threats from it. One, new fissures keep opening up in the ground. There are almost 24 cracks in the earth at this point, spewing sulfur dioxide and lava. One lava bomb, a fragment of molten rock shot from a fissure, hit a man in the leg while he was sitting on his porch. That caused the first serious injury in this eruption. 2, ash continues to spew from Kilauea's summit. One cloud boiled as high as 10,000 feet. Hawaii's Volcano Observatory says more explosions are possible at any time. 3, lava is now flowing into the Pacific Ocean. That might not sound like a bad thing as long as no boats are nearby. But when the molten rock hits the cold seawater, it's producing another hazard, something called laze.
Seeing something like this is undoubtedly a once-in-a-lifetime experience for most people, but for people who live here on the Big Island of Hawaii, they are happy that it's only once in a lifetime because this is a never-ending nightmare. Let me show you what we're seeing from our vantage point. This is where all of the lava is coming from. This is actually 5 fissures combined, but it doesn't look like cracks in the earth. It looks more like 5 out-of-control fire hydrants. Of course, that lava has to go somewhere, and so it is cascading down these fast-moving lava flows, and eventually it is reaching the ocean. And you can actually see it from our vantage point there, that red steam over there in 2 different places. Now, from new pictures that we're seeing, that those clouds, it may look like simple steam, but it is much more nefarious than that. It is something called lava haze or laze, and it is a mixture of sulfuric acid and tiny particles of glass. It can be quite dangerous at worst, perhaps even deadly. I want to show you one other thing right over there. This is a fissure that we've been watching now for the past 8 nights in a row, and it may look relatively benign, at least from this standpoint, but I can tell you it is not. We were at a woman's house maybe a quarter mile, maybe half a mile away from there, and the sheer force of that fissure, because there's the odd explosion that happens maybe once or every minute or two, it actually blew out 2 of her windows. So this is really, nothing to think lightly of. It can potentially be quite hazardous. Now, if it's not the lava that's pushing people out, it might be the gas. That is because geologists say that sulfur dioxide levels, they have actually tripled in recent days, creating a lot of problems for people. And one other thing to point out, and that is The explosions that we're hearing, again, you can hear those explosions. They are incredibly loud. The explosions that we're seeing at the summit of Kilauea have actually lessened, become less frequent and smaller in recent days. In fact, there was one just about 3 hours ago that was quite small relatively. That may be good news for this time being, but it may also mean that a much bigger explosion could be coming.
JCPenney is in serious trouble. The company was once one of America's leading retail chains. Who hasn't gotten one of their iconic Christmas catalogs in the mail? But JCPenney, like struggling rival Sears, failed to adapt to consumers' changing tastes. JCPenney is being hurt by the slow demise of many American malls. Consumers are increasingly shopping on their phones. And while some retailers, Walmart, Best Buy, and Macy's come to mind, have embraced digital commerce, JCPenney has been a laggard online. That's a big reason why sales continue to fall and the company keeps losing money. JCPenney has already taken the painful step to cut more than 100 stores and lay off thousands of workers. Still, the share price has plunged in single digits. That means JCPenney is literally what traders call a penny stock. Investors are also worried about the fact that JCPenney is a pretty big debt load and not a lot of cash. JCPenney is trying to get back on track by focusing on products like beauty goods, toys, and appliances, and not just clothing. But time may be running out to save JCPenney.
The Asian island country of Singapore has been in the news lately because it's the location of a planned summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. But there's another reason our friends at Great Big Story visited Singapore recently. They wanted to check out a man-made horticultural haven known as Super Tree Grove. Let's go climbing. Usually, fast food restaurants compete with each other, especially when they're literally next door. But a Burger King in Massachusetts recently asked out the grill next door. The restaurant posted the word prom on its sign, and Wendy's over social media said that'd be okay as long as they were home by 10. Because the promposal was so public, Burger King went public with the result too, posting the words, "She said yes." But where are they going to eat? Offering to share a Whopper could get a frosty reception. So could Dairy Queen, though we hear she's pretty sweet. Five Guys could be 4 too many. McDonald's is their arch enemy. No one wants Papa John as a chaperone, so that's Hardee's a good idea. Maybe they'll just take the subway. I'm Carl's Jr. Azus for CNN 10.